Have you ever found yourself caught in an endless mental loop, thinking about a specific person, maybe an ex-partner, a fleeting crush, or even someone you barely interacted with? It's as if they've carved out space in your mind and refused to leave, showing up repeatedly in your thoughts without any conscious invitation. These persistent thoughts can feel puzzling, intrusive, and even frustrating. What's more baffling is that there's often no logical reason for their presence. They just seem to occupy mental real estate, rent-free, as if your mind has been hijacked. At first glance, it may seem like a quirk of human memory, an emotional residue that refuses to fade. You might wonder if it's love, obsession, regret, or maybe you're just overthinking. But according to Carl Jung, one of the most profound thinkers in the realm of psychology, there is nothing random about this phenomenon. Jung believed that the people who linger in our thoughts serve as clues, signposts on the journey towards self-awareness. Their presence might be less about them and more about what they represent within us. This isn't just psychological speculation. Jungian theory offers a powerful lens to explore the hidden dimensions of our psyche. When someone haunts your mind, it's not just your emotions at play. Your unconscious mind may be sending signals, trying to get your attention. To understand what these signals mean, we need to explore some of Jung's most impactful concepts: the shadow, anima, and animus, projection, and synchronicity. Let's embark on this journey to uncover why certain people stay in your mind and what they're trying to teach you about yourself. Before we get into the specifics, it's important to understand how Jung viewed the mind. He believed that most of our thoughts, behaviors, and emotions are influenced by the unconscious, the part of our psyche that lies beneath our everyday awareness. Imagine your mind as an iceberg. The conscious mind, what you're aware of day to day, is just the tip floating above the water. The unconscious mind, on the other hand, is the massive structure beneath the surface. This is where your repressed emotions, forgotten experiences, fears, desires, and hidden aspects of your personality reside. Jung asserted that the unconscious is not a passive repository of memories, but an active force influencing your experiences and relationships. When someone consistently pops into your mind, it often means they've activated something within your unconscious. Maybe they touched on an old wound, mirrored a part of yourself you're unaware of, or symbolized something your psyche yearns for. Understanding why this happens isn't just about curiosity. It's a path to self-knowledge. Jung famously said, "Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes." This quote reflects the core of his philosophy. Self-awareness comes from examining your inner world, not just the external events of life. Let's start with one of Jung's foundational ideas, the shadow. The shadow represents the parts of ourselves we reject, deny, or ignore, qualities that don't align with our self-image or social expectations. These could be negative traits like jealousy, anger, laziness, or arrogance. But they could also be positive qualities we've buried due to fear, shame, or conditioning, like ambition, confidence, or creativity. Because we often refuse to consciously acknowledge our shadow, it remains buried in the unconscious. However, it doesn't stay dormant. It seeks expression, often by projecting itself onto others or influencing our behavior in indirect ways. So, how does this relate to the person stuck in your mind? Jung believed that the people we fixate on often represent aspects of our shadow. For example, if someone's confidence captivates you, it might be because you suppress your own self-assuredness. If their impulsivity annoys you, it may reflect a hidden desire for spontaneity. If their presence triggers deep emotions, it might be because they resonate with a repressed part of yourself. The mind is signaling that there's unfinished business. A part of yourself is trying to come to light through this person. Instead of simply wondering why you're thinking about them, ask yourself, what aspect of me are they mirroring? What emotion do they evoke? And what does that tell me about myself? Jung taught that integration of the shadow, bringing these unconscious aspects into consciousness, is essential for psychological growth. Facing the shadow isn't comfortable, but it's necessary. As Jung said, One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Another powerful Jungian concept that helps explain why someone might remain lodged in your thoughts is the anima and animus. Jung proposed that each person holds within them both masculine and feminine psychological energies, regardless of biological sex. He called the inner feminine energy the anima and the inner masculine energy the animus. These aren't just gender traits, they're archetypes representing emotional tendencies, qualities, and energies. For example, the anima may embody empathy, receptivity, creativity, and nurturing qualities, while the animus might represent logic, assertiveness, strength, and action. When someone occupies your mind, it could be because they resonate with your anima or animus. You may find them fascinating, magnetic, or even idealized because they mirror qualities you subconsciously seek or need to integrate. Here's an example. A man might be drawn to a woman who seems emotionally deep and nurturing, not just because of attraction, but because she reflects his anima, calling him to embrace his emotional world. A woman might find herself captivated by someone assertive and decisive because he symbolizes her animus, encouraging her to explore those traits within herself. However, the anima and animus can also create illusions. Jung warned that these archetypes often lead to projections, where we assign idealized qualities to others, seeing them not as they are, but as our unconscious wants them to be. This dynamic can explain obsessive thoughts or romantic infatuation that seems irrational or disproportionate. You're not just drawn to the person, they've become a symbol of your own inner quest for wholeness. Understanding the anima and animus helps shift the focus. Instead of asking, why can't I stop thinking about them? You start to explore, what inner energy or quality am I seeking through them? One of the most profound and challenging insights from Jungian psychology is the concept of projection. Jung described projection as the unconscious transfer of our own qualities, desires, fears, and emotions onto others. It's like watching a movie and seeing parts of your own story played out on someone else's screen. This happens because we often struggle to fully own our emotions or traits. Instead, we displace them onto others, idealizing them, demonizing them, or obsessing over them without realizing it's about us, not them. For example, you admire someone's ambition, not realizing you've neglected your own. You dislike someone for being critical, unaware of your own inner critic. You fall in love quickly, not with the real person, but with the idealized version created by your psyche. Projection feels incredibly real. That's why it's so convincing. But once you understand it, you realize that others often act as mirrors, reflecting parts of you that need to be acknowledged. Jung emphasized the importance of withdrawing projections, bringing them back into the self. When you ask, what am I really seeing in them? What does this say about me? You begin to reclaim your power and self-awareness. As Jung put it, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. Let's now explore a more mystical aspect of Jungian psychology, synchronicity. Have you ever thought about someone only to have them call you? Or perhaps you keep dreaming about a person and suddenly you cross paths unexpectedly. These experiences can feel uncanny, even magical, as if some invisible thread connects you. Jung coined the term synchronicity to describe these meaningful coincidences, events that are connected not by cause and effect, but by significance. In Jung's view, synchronicity is a sign that your inner world and outer reality are aligned. When someone appears in your thoughts and then in your life, it could be a message from the unconscious or the universe nudging you to pay attention. It's easy to dismiss these events as chance, but Jung saw them as opportunities for self-reflection. When synchronicity happens, ask, what is this moment trying to teach me? What part of myself is being awakened? Jung wrote, synchronicity is an ever-present reality for those who have eyes to see. So what can you do when someone won't leave your thoughts? Instead of feeling stuck, use Jung's ideas to decode the message your psyche is sending. Here's how. Step 1. Reflect. Ask, what emotions do I feel when I think about this person? Are they admiration, longing, anger, envy? Pinpointing your emotions is the first clue to what they represent within you. Step 2. Analyze, dig deeper. If you admire their freedom, are you feeling trapped? If you resent their confidence, are you struggling with insecurity? Explore the inner meaning behind the emotion. Step 3. Integrate. Use these insights to grow. What quality can you develop in yourself? What wound needs healing? What unconscious pattern is surfacing? This journey isn't about changing the other person. It's about transforming yourself. Our minds are maps leading us to self-discovery. The people who stay in our thoughts are often keys, unlocking doors to greater self-awareness. When someone occupies your mental space, consider it a message from within, a chance to understand yourself more deeply. In the end, their presence is less about who they are and more about what they reflect in you. By exploring your unconscious, facing your shadow, understanding your anima, cha animus, owning your projections, and noticing synchronicities, you can reclaim your mind and turn obsession into self-liberation. As Jung wisely said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. It's time to take the reins and discover what your mind has been trying to tell you all along. Our minds are maps leading us to self-discovery. The people who stay in our thoughts are often keys, unlocking doors to greater self-awareness. When someone occupies your mental space, consider it a message from within, a chance to understand yourself more deeply. In the end, their presence is less about who they are and more about what they reflect in you. By exploring your unconscious, facing your shadow, understanding your anima, animus, owning your projections, and noticing synchronicities, you can reclaim your mind and turn obsession into self-liberation. As Jung wisely said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. It's time to take the reins and discover what your mind has been trying to tell you all along.